Coming up on this week's Towncast Pembroke, it's a festive edition. It's full of the Fs. It's festive. It's Father Christmas. It's fun runs. It's fairs, but it's also flooded. Let's get on with the show. Hello and welcome back to this week's edition of Towncast Pembroke. As promised, I said I'd try and fit one in before Christmas, and if this doesn't give it away, and this, it's this will be the last one of this year. I might try and fit. It depends how busy it is between Christmas and New Year. If I can fit one in, I will, and I'll just do some updates on New Year's Eve parties, those kind of things. Where to go for New Year's Eve, if I can. But what I am gonna stop doing is stop promising to do things. My thought being, if I promise to do something, I would then have to go and I would, I've said this to people, so I'd have to go and do it. But unfortunately, the last couple of weeks has just been absolutely crazy with work and family and birthdays and parties and things like that. So yeah. So we're back with a festive edition. And yeah, we'll make the most of it as best we can. So let's kick off then with a little bit. So I haven't got much news. I haven't got much in terms of events. A lot of the Christmas stuff has happened, so it's just a kind of a bit of an update on some of the stuff that is going on. So let's have a little looky. So first things first. Just want to remember that all parking is free on weekends, so Saturday and Sunday. Pembrokeshire County Council car parks. So in Pembroke, that's the Commons and the one behind Main Street. They're the two main ones. It's free. No reason not to use those car parks on the weekend, particularly Saturdays. We've just had Small Business Saturday. That doesn't mean that next weekend isn't a Small Business Saturday. Every weekend should be Small Business Saturday. So yeah, there's loads of great stuff going on in town, loads of great shops that need to be visited just so you can say you've been in them more than anything. So yeah, make use of the free car parks on weekends. I've done that myself this weekend, actually. Where was I? Do you know what? I can't even remember where I was going, but I had to use a car park, and you went, hey, it's free. Lovely jubbly. Couple of other bits that are going on. So I've seen this on Facebook. Okay, so local police are now monitoring speeds. Okay, now whether you agree with the 20 mile an hour speed limit or not is irrelevant. Okay, 20 mile an hour is there. It's inside the town, so everywhere from top of Bush Hill to Holyland Woods to past the end of Fourth Lane to where else would you go? I think it goes about halfway up Grove Hill, and then just past the second estate, going up St Daniel's Hill, and then out the other side of Moncton. Anywhere inside that is 20. Yeah, and there's no excuses to know or to not know. Everything inside there is 20. Personally, I agree with people going out and speed checking. I know people don't like it, but I saw one comment of, why are you doing this just before Christmas? Blah 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 blah. Because this is when people speed more. People are in a rush. People can't control their speed. If you can't control your speed, don't get behind a car. Simple as that. So yeah, I'm all in favour of this. If we want to make our town centre a pleasant place to be, then we need less traffic and more people. And there's a balance in between those two, travelling at 45, 50. I saw the other day, while I just go off on a small tangent to walking the dogs around the town, young girl trying to cross the road to go into school. And this is one of the areas that kind of gets me, where people will say, "Oh, I don't mind doing it outside of school." And churches, for some reason, they say outside of school and outside of church. But anyway, so outside of school, young girl was getting ready to cross the road. The lights were on red, and somebody still went through at about 40 miles an hour while that young girl was trying to cross the road. So I don't give a monkeys what people say about, oh, I should be able, I know we're safe. If you can't drive, if you're not safe, don't be there. Um, and if your kid is going to Grove School, then yeah, I would be crossing that road with them, because I've seen that more than once, where people just do not stop coming around that corner. So that's there for Christmas. That's for everyone to be aware of. Obviously, the annual Don't Drink and Drive campaign is starting as well. Um, so the main bit of my stuff today is going to be about flooding. Okay, so yeah, let's just go do flooding now. So we've obviously had we know that what's going on down on the barrage. We said when it happened, first of all, that that's what we thought it was, where the barrage should have been finished at the start of December, start of November, whatever, and wasn't. And so this is from Jonathan Grimes. So before anyone says anything political, okay, I'm not a fan of Jonathan Grimes. I'm not a, he's a Tory. I'm not a fan of Tories, but I will say for him that when it comes to getting stuff done for the town, he will go out of his way and get stuff done for the town. So remove all the political stuff. This isn't about politics. This is about a town councillor doing his job. And sometimes you've got to put your hands up and say, he is absolutely doing his job, and well done to him on that. As are the others, but Jonathan's the one that's probably doing more on social media to sort this out. So it came after the second one, so 9th of December, so a week or so ago now. Okay. So this was the update from the Coastal Rivers and Drainage team. So I'm going to share this just in case you haven't seen it. Okay, on socials. I'm fully expecting you have, because most people will have seen this locally. This got shared, but quite a lot. Okay, so maintenance teams are attending a high number of locations across the county, etc., etc. Yeah, we know that, but we were one of those, and this affected a lot of people. It's not unique, widespread flooding across the county. Yeah, but everyone else was getting attended to, and it felt like NAFL was happening with us. This is the important bit. The barrage tipping gate is not operational, and will not be operational until mid-January due to unforeseen circumstances with the ram. Now, I have seen other people suggesting that when they took the ram out, the hydraulic arms that move the barrier up and down, when they took it out, they damaged it. I don't know if that's true. Yeah, but I've seen two or three people say that the ram was damaged when they tried to remove it and they couldn't repair it. It should have been a quick remove it, clean it, refill it with whatever, put it back in. They damaged it when they took it out. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what I'm led to believe. However, there is a sluice within the barrage which is open and is able to assist with lowering the levels of the castle pond when the head of the water is greater in the pond rather than the estuary. Once the tide is high, the flat valve of the outfall of the sluice is unable to open, and this prevents tidal water entering the castle pond, which is a positive feature. Yeah, I get that, but that's basically an overflow mechanism. In your bath, you have at the very bottom, you've got a tiny little hole, overflow. When it gets to a level, water goes out of there. However, if you've got 100 litres going out and 1,000 litres going in, you've got 900 litres backing up and going somewhere. And that's the issue. Flooding situation is not helped as there are high tides coupled with a yellow warning of rain and a yellow weather warning of wind, which has created tidal surges. We know all of this. We've seen all of this, and we know this. There have been commented the maintenance work at the barrage and associated infrastructure should have been completed in the summer, We were advised the school summer holiday season was not appropriate time to do the work. Castle Pond would have become stagnant. No one would have been able to use the pond recreationally. The coastal path would need to be closed at peak season, and it would have negatively impacted on the biodiversity. I don't know how that impacts on the biodiversity. I think that's a non-starter. We were not able to foresee the extremely poor weather we've experienced. Now, that bit there, if you're doing it in winter, you know what's coming. Yeah. Overall, last winter was mild. It was still wet. December 2024, the fifth warmest on record. Yeah, only Storm Dara, red warning, blah, 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 was noted. Storm Bert didn't really affect Pembrokeshire. That's irrelevant. That's irrelevant. They should have had something in place. The barrage tipping gate will not be operational until mid-January, where the coastal path will be closed for 3 weeks, starting on the 12th of January. New signage will be erected, etc., etc. So, let's just discuss this for. Yes, stuff has happened. Would it have been better in the summer? Personally, there isn't a good time to. It's like the roadworks that were due to go through town. There isn't a good time to do them. We're a small town. We've got one main road going through. We've got one major feature. There isn't a good time to shut it. There isn't. We don't have a relief road. We don't have okay, if the castle's closed, you can go to the activity centre, you can go to the cinema, you can go to the bowling alley. There isn't anything else. So whenever you shut it, there's going to be issues. So I agree, closing it in the summer wouldn't have been great, but it was closed start of September. So and the sign at the time said closed for 8 weeks. So September, end of October, back in start of November. Thank you very much. So that statement almost doesn't address the actual issue, and the actual issue is something was damaged. They knew it was going to take longer, and they didn't put measures in place to protect us during that period. When that ram was out, they should have known, okay, it's going to be out for 3 weeks. This might happen. What then happens if we get a sudden storm surge, if we get a massive rainfall, what then happens? How do we protect that area? That sluice is not substantial enough to empty Castle Pond, which we've seen. So, I mean, to me, and the night that happened, that first night it flooded, there was a report on the news where they did an interview with Pontypridd Town Council, Pontypridd County Council, whoever it was. It was in Pontypridd City Town Centre, where they had 3 pumps at the ready in case they had flooding. 3. Now I know Pontypridd has had a rough time of it before, and they've gone, hey, do you know what? Well, let's get some pumps, so if it starts coming in, we can pump it out really quickly. Why was that not put in place at Pembroke? I saw nothing pumping water out. Yeah, it's like your bath is overflowing. You've gone, the water is up beyond your overflow. It's pouring over the top of the bath. It's out on your bathroom floor. It's sinking through your floorboards. It's going into the kitchen. And instead of getting a bucket and chucking it out, we're sitting there going like, let's see if the overflow works. So to me, that statement just doesn't go far enough in terms of what could have been done. It's a little bit of, and I think this has been the case a couple of times now, where Pembroke's just getting ignored. Pembroke is being ignored, and we need to start shouting about this, and we need to start getting people involved and saying this isn't good. And people's houses are flooding. People down on the green, down on the commons, people's houses are flooding 2, 3 times. And yes, it might not be a massive number, but one is too many when it comes to this. This is not the way you want to go into a festive season, go worrying, do we get rainfall, or is everything going to get kind of soaked? So, I appreciate that there are, I saw the question that Jonathan's going to ask at this week's PCC. They have a quarterly full meeting. It's called a full meeting where every councillor comes in and has a chat, 4 day thing, big event, because there's only 4 of them. So yes, questions will be asked there, but the questions that are going to help, 3, 4 years time. Have you done a study into this? Have you done a study into that? What measures are going to be put in place? Get a bloody pump. Get some pumps in the pump house. Yeah, and when it's low, empty the bloody mill pond into the estuary. Take the water out to Castle Pond, put it over, send it out to sea. Don't wait for that overflow system, the sluice to kind of say, because it's not working. We need to lower the level as much as we possibly can over that festive period, so that if something does happen, then we've got somewhere for that water to go. Um, we all know we all like a bit of time off over Christmas. So are we going to be able to have an emergency team on hand to suddenly go, let's all go to Pembroke and move? No, we're not. We're not. So let's put that in place beforehand, so that when that festive season comes, people aren't worrying about, can I get to work through the mill pond, or have I got to go out the other way? Let's just have a little bit of foresight in that. So that's the end of my flooding bit. It's really, really frustrating. What I will finish with, okay, is somebody said to me the other day that I'm always moaning about the mill pond. I'm always moaning about the flooding on Castle Pond. Well, I'm sorry, but um, I set this up to try and talk up the town and try and be. When you've got something that important happening to the town, and the feel of it is that very, very little is being done about it, um, then yes, I'm going to be grumpy about that. And I don't care if that makes me a grumpy old man, a grumpy old Grinch. I really don't care. If it means that we get something done to solve that, then that's a good thing, you know. So I would encourage everyone to be up in arms. I genuinely would. We have to have something in place. We have to be prepared. There's no point waiting until it floods again and then go, oh dear, oh, the old grumpy guy's off again. Get it in place, and let's empty Castle Pond. Let's give ourselves a fighting chance of getting to mid-January without this happening again. And to the person that calls me a miserable git, I don't care. I've been called a lot worse in the past. I'll be called a lot worse in the future. So yeah. Okay, let's move on to some of the good things that have been happening around town. So there was a fun run, a run by the castle, a Christmas jumper fun run, which is great. I said a couple of weeks ago now about having a jingle jog around the town with lights and all that kind of stuff. It started. Something has started. Somebody has done something. And fair play to them. Let's let's make it happen again next year. Let's make it bigger. Let's use that as our catalyst to go forward. So a big well done to everyone at the castle and everyone that did the festive jog around town. I think they said it was 5K. I think they did, which is a fair old distance. I saw the route. Thankfully, I was away that weekend and my knees are so old I couldn't possibly. I could have walked it. But yeah, I was away that weekend, so I couldn't do it. So big respect to all those that did on that. So other things that have been happening. Oh, the skate park. Okay, so this started kind of midsummer-ish, somewhere around there, maybe late summer, with the idea of a skate park. Or well, it started as a skate park. That was the original idea. That was let's have a skate park. So I volunteered to be part of that team, and there's a really great bunch of people around on that team as well. Um, so it's kind of evolved. There's lots of different things that we're looking at, lots of different things. So I kind of wanted to use the Towncast as opportunity to talk with people who may be not involved in it. So comments below, stick your comments below on what you kind of what your worries would be about a skate park. And what you what other things you'd like to see. So the idea of a skate park has kind of moved now into like more of a multi activity location, or possibly a walk. And this is a really interesting idea where instead of having it all kind of tight, I think we all kind of know what the Pembroke Dock one looks like and what the Haverfordwest one looks like, where it's contained within a specific area. But one of the ideas that we're looking at is kind of having, if you imagine with the footpath that goes around the commons. So imagine having a second footpath inside that for bikes and cycles with, little up and downy bits and berms around a corner. I think that's a technical term. I'll be honest, I don't know. Um, but yeah, so you could go for a walk with your kids, and your kids might be going over up and down. There might be a particular section that they like. There might be difficult sections, there might be easy sections, there might be sections for like 5 to 8 year olds. There might be another section for 15 to 20 year olds, which is a bit more technical. Or there's lots of different things you can do. But instead of having it in one location, could be around the time. We could put it alongside. Look at the size of the path along the side of the mill pond. We could maybe use that, maybe around the outside of the castle pond. So yeah, what would be your thoughts on that? Because that's definitely one of the ideas that's on the board. Also looking at potential, enclosed sites, but more of a community, a community hub. That's think have a hub in Haverfordwest, only with a bit more activities. So maybe a climbing wall, maybe an indoor site. We could have skittles, like they do in Power Station Club, what used to be called it's still called a Power Station Club, isn't it? Yeah. So, but yeah, you could have skittles, you could have different types of indoor games. Each site you could you could have it. It could be an indoor cinema. It could be a music venue. It could be, and a activity park. So that's one of the bits that are looking at as well. Um, yeah, things are progressing in terms of we're actually going to do this. We're actually going to make something happen in the town. The one bit that we know is going to be really, really difficult is doing something on the commons, for a number of reasons. This was just as the flooding was all started, so there are flooding issues down there. But we're like, well, look, if something's going to happen, could we then use that building? Is it? We were talking about, could we put like an underground sump in underneath the football pitch? Basically dig that out, dig a well underneath it, put it, enclose it, all that kind of stuff, and then build something on top. We can't build anything on top of anything down there because it's classed as a green, a village green, effectively. So you're not allowed to build on it legally. There are probably ways of getting around it, but it's really, really long-winded, would take forever. People would lose enthusiasm and what have you. So we've kind of disregarded that unless we can find an easy way around it. Unless we find an easy way around it, that's kind of gone out the window, which is a real shame. A real, real shame, because I would love to put some kind of activity park down there, which is a football pitch, a basketball pitch, a hockey pitch, the one of those multi-site things with, improved draining underneath. I think it would solve a whole load of issues. But that's, if that's going to happen, that's 15, 20 years in the future, and it's going to take a lot of effort to make that happen. So we're looking for other sites around town, other ideas, other people to get involved. Since we started, a few other people have come involved and said, "Hey, I've got something to offer. I'd like to be involved," and that's great. That's fantastic. Um, so yeah, if nothing's decided yet, nothing's set in stone. But if you want to be a part of that, or even if you just want to make a few comments on it, drop your comments below, because at some point we'll start doing public consultations and what have you. Um, and we'll do that a bit more formally. But the more kind of the flavour we can get before then, the better. Um, what we know is that there are going to be some people who just absolutely do not want the skate park because they have a set vision in their head of what a skate park is and what happens at skate parks, and it's noisy and it's rowdy and there's loud music and there's trouble and all of these kind of things. We know that that's kind of when we go forward, we need to counteract those already. So yeah, any ideas, any comments, any thoughts, please do put them below on that one. Okay. Um, so before I move on to my I remember when, um, yeah, so we're at the end of the year, been doing this kind of 6 months or so now. Um, getting lots of interest. Loads of you are interested in it, and thank you genuinely for your comments on it. Even the negative people, even the people who are having a go and slagging off, and why aren't I? Why haven't I got my buckets to empty the castle pond? That was one of the comments. Um, so yeah, but as I say every week, it's for me to do it. Just it takes a lot of effort, takes a lot of time planning this, that, and the other, and I want to have lots of voices on. Um, and we've got a really big year coming up, 2026. Lots of elections. There's going to be lots of people with strong opinions. It's going to be lots of people with opinions you might not like, things like that. So yeah, I just wanted to have a shout out again for anyone that wants to come and join me. If you've said no before, and I know there've been a couple of people that have kind of gone, yes, I'll be involved. I can't actually do it. If things change, by all means, drop me a line. I'd love to get you involved. Um, doesn't matter about age. You can be 20, you can be 80. It doesn't matter. As long as you've got an opinion about it. So the only requisite that I've got for doing this is that you care about this town, and you're willing to come on and have a conversation about the future of the town and be positive. So yeah, if that's you and you fancy getting involved, then please do message me. It will be great to have somebody else involved while I'm doing it. Okay, let's do I remember when. So my I remember when is obviously it's Christmassy. It's Christmas related, and I don't know if anyone remembers this. So I think we usually have a brass band outside the town hall. I think that's where they are. But did we have one at one? I think they kind of do one Saturday in December. It might have been last Saturday. I wasn't in town last Saturday. But wouldn't it be nice, right, to have? So I just got kind of, I guess I'll roll the two in together now. I seem to remember when, and wouldn't it be nice to bring this back? Where there was like an evening where we had like the brass band was playing, but it wasn't playing outside the town hall. I think it was playing um up by where the Christmas tree is now, up by St. Michael's. And I think it was kind of around there. And but you could kind of hear it through the town, and it was like a late night opening for Christmas. Lots of shops stayed open till kind of 7, 8, 9 o'clock or whatever it was, and lots of the pubs kind of had um like stuff at the front, almost like a bar at the front or things like that. Um, oh, but there were hot dog stands. It was in the 80s, and it sticks in my head as a memory of. I remember we got a hot dog from outside what would have been either Fine Fair or Summerfield back then. Um, and then we just kind of walked up the town and just listened to two or three bands. But wouldn't it be nice to bring that kind of feeling back and just have an evening shopping? Well, it doesn't need to be a Friday. It can be a Wednesday. Wednesday's often a quiet day, but just having something a bit more festive in the town, just something that sets us apart from everyone else. Yeah. Now we just had the Christmas fair and that was fantastic. If you went to the Christmas fairs, I went to all three. I went to the one in the castle. I bought far too much Barty rum. I'll be honest, but the Barty rum has been a thing where one year we bought one bottle and that was got so I had to go back on the Sunday and buy another, and then the following year, okay, we bought two, and then I had to go back and get kind of some for presents and whatever. This year we bought three, so I've got three bottles of Barty rum, um, waiting to be demolished over Christmas. I've been very good so far. We've only had a couple of hot chocolates with it in, but I thought there were probably a couple of stalls from local traders that I was expecting to be there that weren't. Um, and I think some of them had moved into the town hall, and some of them were just not there. Which was a little bit, disappointing on that. But what was there was great. What was there? Again, spent far too much. Did a lot of my Christmas shopping there. And I say this every year. Oh, it could be much much bigger. Could be huge if it wanted to be. Um, and I think probably one day it will be. It will be significantly bigger again. But it was really really good to have that in the town. Town was absolutely ram solid that morning. There was just traffic everywhere. You didn't need to worry about 20 mile an hour because everywhere was at 2 mile an hour if it was moving. So yeah, that was lovely. Went to the one in the town hall. Lots of well, not lots of, but a few stalls that kind of been displaced from the castle maybe came into the town hall. There were a few in there that I recognised. Um, a few kind of more artisan people. There's a great little pottery, a local potter in there. There was a few. There was like a butcher's in there and things like that. And then the one up by opposite the castle in Westgate. Yeah, it was probably the smallest of them, but it's probably got the most potential for doing something a bit bigger. So hopefully, next year all three will be back. I'd love to see just a bit more making those into something a bit more through the town. Maybe we combine the two with them. But yeah, I definitely remember when I was younger having that walk through the town, the brass band. Actually, there is something about the brass band. I don't know what it is, but well, why it's associated with Christmas. Um, but I think it was outside Tesco's on Saturday as well. It just does sound festive and Christmassy and things like that. So it'd be great to have one of those in the town again. Um, Now, if you remember when we did late night opening in the 80s, might have been early 80s, might have been mid 80s, I don't know. But yeah, do message below because I don't know, just had that Christmassy feel. So that's kind of the two rolled in together, really. The I remember and the wouldn't it be nice to bring that back and really do something with it through the town centre. My actual wouldn't it be nice if we wouldn't it be nice to do something for Henry VII's birthday in mid-January? I say that every year, nobody listens. So I think it's January 23rd was Henry VII's birthday when he was born in Pembroke Castle. So yeah, that was going to be my original. Wouldn't it be nice? I'm going to have to do one at the start of January now and use that. But wouldn't it be nice to just bring that feeling back into the town of um yeah that the brass band, the lots of little small eateries, the lots of shops just staying open and I mean some of the shops we've got in town are really fantastic. They're really really good and we should make there was a comment not on one of my pages, not on one of my posts, but on somebody else's post about um the death of the high street and this that and the other. And then you kind of think, well, how much of your shopping have you done online? You know, how much shopping have you done online? How much have you done in the town centre? And we all kind of need to take responsibility for this. When one of so I went away for my birthday, went to a small town, not too dissimilar to Pembroke, in all honesty. The only difference is it's not at the end of the line. It's Ludlow, so it's got a bit of a through traffic, but it's basically got a castle next to a river. Walk around the castle. Um, it does have a little market area in the middle, but it's essentially then just got one or two shopping streets. The difference is people in Ludlow do their shopping there. I think that having that market there, that market makes a massive difference to bringing people in because each day is a different market. Some day it's a food market, some day it's a clothes market, some day it's a day we were there. It was like a Christmassy gift kind of market, all sorts of odds and sods, a bit like Carew Market used to be. You know that you'd have different parts of Carew Market. So, but the difference was is that local people use it. So when local people use it, visitors to the area go, oh, well, there must be something in it because local people are using it. So sometimes we need to take that responsibility on ourselves and go and shop in our town centres and yeah, help our town centres to become more vibrant. You can't force shops to open in the area. You can't force shops to open in the area. But what you can do is make the shops that are there vibrant and buoyant. So when somebody's walking around and they're going, why are there so many people in the town centre? You know, oh, they're all shopping locally. Okay, well, I'll have that shop there, and then I'll open something new, and that's how town centres grow. You know, I know I'm digressing and I'm kind of flitting from place here, but there's um what used to be Harley and Kate's. So when Harley and Kate's moved to down to by the castle, their old shop, that's been done up now. That looks like it's ready to receive new owners. So it would be great to see that shop open again. And you know, the windows, a lot of the windows in shops that are not in use. So the old Castle Nails, where Castle Nails used to be, um, maybe a bit different. But certainly Barclays has had its windows snow sprayed, which is it looks fantastic. It's a shame we couldn't clean the other side of them first, but it looks fantastic. It looks great. A couple of I think the new kitchen and bathroom shop over by the castle, they've done their window in the snow spray as well. It would have been fantastic to have the big one. What used to be Fine Fair, Summerfield. I can't remember what else it was. Um, so yeah, to have that window because it was a massive, massive windows. That would have been fantastic display to have done. But it shows what can be done when people want to, and when you get enough people that want to do stuff, then life gets a lot easier, isn't it? Anyway, that's my I remember when and my wouldn't it be nice for this one, but yeah. Maybe it's festive downtown. It is festive in town. It is. It does feel like we're celebrating Christmas in town, which is fantastic. But we can always celebrate it a little bit more. So I encourage everyone to go and just spend to buy one present from town. If you bought presents for everyone else, just buy one for yourself, and it'll give everyone an encouragement to do something a bit more next year with that. Okay, so before I finish off with the sport, then uh, as always, please do like our channel, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and like us on social media. We've had a load of interest on social media over the last couple of weeks, so thank you for everyone that's liked and shared our posts. Um, Massive, massive difference, and I thank you all. Um, I'll do my thank you message at the end. But what I will say is, yeah, for everyone that's liked the page, a massive, massive thank you. It's it's not the easiest thing to do with the world. I thought this was going to be a whole load easier to do, but doing it on your own is really difficult. So for everyone that's kind of pitched in and said thank you and all of that kind of stuff, it does kind of give you the encouragement to go forward a bit. Okay, let's go and have a look at a little bit of sport. Okay, so we will start as always with the rugby. So there's a couple of weeks. I think yeah, 15th of November was the last time we recorded. So last week, which is 13th of December, Pembroke hosted Tenby Athletic at home. Uh, High scoring game, 41-39 to Tenby Athletic. Normally, when you're putting nearly 40 points on the board, you'd expect to come away with a win. So, yeah, to lose 41-39 is a bit of a kicker for Pembroke there. So, leaves Pembroke in fourth. So, there's a game in hand over St. David's. Um, yeah, I think that's kind of safe there. So, but here's the important bit, okay? Quins are in second place. Pembroke are in fourth position on 21. Okay. The Quins have got something to play for when they play Pontevedra. Yeah. Whereas Pembroke are a little bit away from it. Here's why that's important. This weekend, Pembroke Duck Quins versus Pembroke. I mean, Christmas games don't get bigger than that. They genuinely don't. When that is a massive game that gets spoken about in national circles. Um, I think it was the opening game of the season where I think the Quins won. I'm gonna have to go back and have a look now, and I so let's have a look at results. Opening game of the season. Oh, Pembroke won. So you look at that. 27-17. Oh, of course, yes, yes, that was the first one that was up at Pembroke, wasn't it? So, what they wouldn't give to have that scoreline again. Um, it is going to be a huge game this weekend. I quite like it being just before Christmas because you can play that game. You don't need to worry about a game then until after Christmas, after New Year. You're into January. 3rd of January is when the next game is. So you can put everything into this game. I remember, so I used to play for the Quins. We played Pembroke on like January the 2nd or January the 3rd, something like that one year. It was my last game for the Quins, that one before I went to London. So, and it was okay, but you could tell some of the boys were blowing from a heavy Christmas. Um, so to play it before Christmas, no excuses. Both teams have had a little bit of a break. This is going to be massive. So if you're just going to go and watch one more game this year, that's the game to go and watch down at the Quins, 2:30 next Saturday. Um, Take your support and make it vocal for Pembroke because a win there would be massive. It's not just local bragging, right? It's more than that. It's yes, there are league points and all of that, but this is the important game of the season with that one. So Yeah, Quinns versus Pembroke, half two on 20th of December. We'll take a little bit of a look ahead because I don't know if I'll be back in time for 3rd of January. So Pembroke travel to St. David's. Again, we look where that is in the league. A win there. So a win against the Quins, a win against St. David's. Big, big games. I think that game against St. David's is really, really important given where everybody is in the table. Um, so yeah, let's have a those are two massive games for Pembroke, two absolutely huge games for Pembroke there. So best of luck to the boys on those. Hopefully we can come through the rest of January and have a bit more to sing and shout about on that. Okay, let's go and have a look at the Pembrokeshire Football League on that. So where are we? Pembrokeshire League Division 1. Okay, so results from last week, and again, a lot of games will have been kind of suffering, if you like. Swifts beat Carew 5-2 away in Carew. Now, maybe somebody from Carew's listening to this, right? And maybe you can tell me why you've got a massive English flag up outside the cricket pavilion. Um, Confuses me. Really, really confuses me. But yeah, so Swifts beat Carew 5-2. Another localish game where Clarbeston Road beat Penna Robbins 5-4. So, we always like to keep an eye on where the Robins are. That puts the Swifts up to second in the table now. Yeah, I think that's looking quite good for the Swifts. Not good for Carew, second from bottom, but yeah, we're looking at where the Swifts are. There's a big gap. That is a big gap to Hakin. So fixtures coming up. No fixtures for this week. That's a bit unfortunate. It does seem to be a football thing. They're a little bit kind of every now and again. You just get this with no fixtures released, whereas they normally get released at the start of the season and just uploaded. Okay, let's have a look at Division 2. In Division 2, then, nobody of interest there. Anyone from the 6th? Yeah, there you go. Moncton Swift Reserves. Oh, maybe we'll avoid looking at that one. 10-1 defeat at New Hedges and Saundersfoot. Oof, that's a heavy one, boys. That's a heavy one. Where does that leave them? So Swifts are mid-table. Swift Reserves, I should say. Sorry, mid-table. Carew Reserves, bottom of the table. Um, yeah, 10 games, no wins, one draw. Oof. Fixtures for this week not available. So Division 3 then, we're just going to assume that there's no fixtures available going forward on that. Results from 13th of December. Loreni beat Clarbeston Road 3-0. Penna Robbins lost 7-1. Pembroke Borough lost 10-2. These are some big scores. I mean, you can see the effect that the weather's having on the games. Where does that leave everyone in the table? Borough 10-2 against 10B seconds. I know this is down, but that's top of the table clash. 10-2 in a top of the table clash. Come on. Loreni in 4th, and then yeah, no one else there. Right, okay. Division 4. But so Manor Beer lost 5-4 at home to Newport Tigers. That's a bit of an interesting one. Anything previously? Nothing on there. I thought we had Angle and yeah. So Angle is still second. Couple of games in hand on St Florence now. St Florence, yeah, St Florence beat Fishguard 3-1. St Florence are still top, but Angle have got 2 games in hand. That could put them up to 37. Depends on how St Florence keep themselves afloat, really, on that. Hundleton are still 4 away from the bottom, and Manabee are Yes, they're bottom, but they're in touch. They're in touch. One decent win and you five off the bottom. So yeah, could be an interesting second half of the season. Division 5 then. Again, have we got anything in there? Nothing really there. So I'll have a quick look at the table. The Rennie Reserves fourth off the bottom. Yeah, it's a bit of a non-starter for us this division, isn't it? Okay, right. Let's stop sharing there. So let's say some big Christmas festive games coming up. There's usually as well a game on Boxing Day or New Year's Day at Pembroke, which is more of a fun old boys kind of game. Um, right, if I find the details for that on social media, I will share that as well because that is basically an excuse to get drunk around a rugby pitch. But well worth going to, well worth going to, especially if you're an old one. Okay, so just wanted to finish off the festive edition with a big thank you to everybody for supporting and following through the year. If you do want to get involved, please do drop me a line. Please do subscribe and share and all of that kind of stuff. But most importantly, is to have a great Christmas, to celebrate the fact that we're still here and we're still going and still fantastic. So I wish you all a very Merry Christmas, a fantastic New Year. And I hope to be back in the new year, hopefully with somebody else to present with me. But have a lovely time off, and I shall see you in the new year. And until then, let's make Pembroke proud. All the best.